announcing that Season 11 will be the final season of The Walking Dead, to introducing many spin-offs, films, and specials that'll keep the franchise alive for a long, long time. Fans of The Walking Dead went through all stages of grief when AMC announced that the popular post-apocalyptic series was coming to an end. But is it really? Not with all the spin-offs that are about to be released. Sure, the parent series is definitely ending, but the franchise will live on as the newly appointed chief content creator of TWD, Scott Gimple, announced he had a lot planned for all the survivors. This, of course, includes Andrew Lincoln's protagonist, the zombie-fighting sheriff Rick Grimes, whom we now know survived and was whisked away by a helicopter. Lincoln had previously claimed that he was ready to take a break and spend more time with his family back in London. So how's he supposed to do that with Grimes still alive and well in the TWD universe? Gimple announced that Grimes will be set to appear in multiple films. This means that Lincoln will have a chance to shoot closer to home for a change. In his own words, this isn't the beginning of the end, this is the end of the beginning, implying that there was still a lot more to come from Grimes and the rest of the survivors. But do fans really want more from them? According to Reddit, it's time to call time of death on the show. The Walking Dead already has 3 spin-off series that are well into their run. For example, Fear the Walking Dead is now in its 8th and probably final season. Likewise, Tales of the Walking Dead and World Beyond are doing pretty well too, which had fans on Reddit questioning if more spin-offs were really necessary. According to one user, the creators are now milking a franchise that should have ended long ago. Sure, this guy doesn't sound like a super fan, but his opinions were echoed in the comments by many people who claim they were major fans of the show when it first aired, but have since grown tired of how it's being dragged out. For example, one user reminded everyone that the show's viewership had been plummeting in recent times. That's right, Season 9 and 10 drew in the smallest daytime audience the show had ever seen. They then pulled the old bait and switch with Grimes, and things seemed like they were back on track for a while. But even that didn't last long, because apparently Variety called the supposed Grimes plot twist uninspiring. Some fans aren't exactly too thrilled with him surviving. I know when Grimes supposedly died, everyone shed a tear or two, or bawled their eyes out, but according to an op-ed on Variety, maybe killing him would have been better for the show. The piece claimed that many people believed the show's handling of Lincoln's character was unnecessary. Again, fans are furious at AMC for trying to churn more money from the franchise. According to one of them, the only reason why they decided to revive Grimes was to have him star in many more movies. Speaking of, fans think they're pairing some of the oddest survivors together. Glenn's gruesome death on the show was probably the single most memorable moment from The Walking Dead. People were talking about it for days, months, and years. Even today, they're still talking about it. His death at the hands of the vile Negan sort of cemented his role as the series' antagonist. And like all antagonists, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character was given a shot at redemption when he paired up with the good guys, and had to prove his worth to the team. Especially to Glenn's love interest, Maggie. This was back when TWD was racking in millions of views every single episode. Primarily because people wanted to see more of Negan and Maggie, and how the two of them eventually settled their differences. Back then, fans praised AMC for giving Negan a shot to make things right with Maggie. Now, however, everyone's had enough of Negan and Maggie. AMC probably won't like this revelation one bit, considering how the duo's spin-off Isle of the Dead is already in production, and reportedly has been greenlit for 5 episodes already. According to the good people of Reddit, Isle of the Dead will follow a tired plot line. Negan's already earned himself a fair repute, all things considered, and there's not much more to explore between him and Maggie. At this point, according to some users, it's just beating a dead horse with a stick. Likewise, fans weren't too thrilled when the network announced Isle of the Dead before Season 11 had even concluded, like this one guy who said, "Gee, thanks, now we know who survives." Fair point, the show lives on the element of surprise. On that note, fans are mad at AMC for giving up entire plot lines with 5 planned spin-off series. It seems like just about everyone from the parent series is getting a chance to become a lead character now. But fans aren't too keen on the whole reveal. In the final episode of The Walking Dead, Negan tearfully asks Maggie to forgive him. He seems sincere enough, but Maggie tells him that she could never forgive him for what he'd done to her family. She admits that he and his wife have a place in the community, but she won't ever find it in her heart to see him as a friend.
I can't forgive you. Even though I'm so grateful that you saved my son.
This, of course, was pretty monumental for both characters, with Negan disembarking from the group to go look for Alex. Meanwhile, Maggie takes Herschel and goes her way. Now, since we know Isle of Man is happening, we know that the two find a way back to one another. Once again, Gimple just won't take a break from an exhausted storyline. And according to AMC's press release, the new series will see Negan falling back into his old ways. After all, he'll do anything to survive. And his time away from the community that shaped him into a decent human being has him reverting to his old barbed wire bat-swinging ways. And now with 5 spin-off series, we know exactly who's made it, where, and how. Just like we know Daryl Dixon's headed for Paris. Norman Reedus' character is a fan favorite, from once being considered a misogynistic jerk to now being an established softie. AMC probably thought the world needed a Daryl Dixon spin-off. Some fans were pleased with the idea of seeing him in action again. Others were less so when they realized that the series would only focus on Dixon. That's because initially Melissa McBride's Carol was signed on, but she later announced that she wouldn't be on the show. Many fans believed that it was because of Reedus. After all, he was the one who insisted that the show be shot in Europe, where fans believe he'd have an easier time commuting to his girlfriend's residence in Germany. McBride specifically said that the reason she was pulling out was because moving was logistically intangible for her at the moment. AMC has, however, issued a statement claiming that Reedus shouldn't be blamed for McBride's decision to pull out of production. In everyone's defense, though, maybe they're just frustrated because what could an entire spin-off centered around one guy be about anyways? So I guess it's pretty clear to understand why some fans might think the spin-offs are unnecessary, but a few of them are pretty excited. You need to remember that the Walking Dead universe has existed for close to a decade at this point, with a popular comic book, multiple video game iterations, and of course, a popular franchise. Some fans are actually happy that the series is continuing on. For example, Daryl was a character created purely for the show, and some fans were thrilled to find out that they'd get to know more about the character. Likewise, the spin-offs divert from the original storyline in the comics, which some think is a cause for panic, and others think it's a good thing. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out, right? And that's all on how the Walking Dead spin-offs will cause havoc for the original series.